Paris, the city of lights, love, and laws. No wonder, Paris is one of the most popular tourist places and always comes first on your travel list, and you want to make your trip memorable. But imagine if you land in that place you always wanted to visit, and something happens you never even think of, and your plan of creating good memories turns into unpleasant memories. For that reason, I am here to tell you everything you should avoid when you visit Paris. Alright, picture this: you've just landed in Paris, the city that makes you fall in love with its beauty, and you are busy soaking in the romance of the Eiffel Tower or munching on croissants, and in the mesmerizing feeling you got fined for a tiny habit. Yeah, I know, sometimes it's instinctive a quick tweet to clear your throat. But in Paris, that could cost you. Local ordinances strictly prohibit spitting in public places. Paris prides itself on being a top-tier tourist destination, and nobody wants to dodge loogies while strolling down the Champs-Élysées. Now, here's the kicker: if you're caught letting one fly, you might face a fine. Depending on the circumstances, that fine could set you back up to 68 euros. That's like to fancy cafe lunches gone poof because you couldn't wait for a tissue. And besides, you don't want your visit to the Louvre to start with a brush with the law. Pro tip: keep your spit in check, save your euros, and maybe buy an extra croissant instead. Now that we've got the spitting situation under control, let's move on to another sneaky way you could end up lighter in the wallet. You're carrying a crumpled napkin while snacking on a baguette when roaming through the romantic streets of Montmartre. Are you tempted to toss it like a scene from a Parisian film? It's absurd. Paris takes cleaning very seriously, and you may be fined up to 135 euros for putting rubbish in the wrong place. Now, before you start panicking, let me tell you the good news. Trash bins are everywhere, so no excuses. Your candy wrapper deserves a proper farewell. Here's the deal: littering isn't just a clean streets thing. Paris wants to stay picture perfect for all those Instagram shots you're planning to take. So, do your part, and you wouldn't want to see your crumpled napkin photobombing someone's romantic proposal at the Seine, would you? And since we're keeping it classy, let's jump onto the next don't do thing, and I bet this will definitely blow your head. Ah, Paris and smoking. It's like bread and butter, right? Those cinematic scenes of people casually puffing on a cigarette outside a cafe make it seem like smoking is part of the city's DNA. But don't let the movies fool you. Paris has some strict rules about where you can light up. Smoking is banned in a lot of public places, such as metro stations, public transport, playgrounds, and even some parks. If you're caught puffing away in these no-smoking zones, you could face a fine of up to 68 euros. That's basically the cost of an Eiffel Tower champagne toast, so I recommend saving your euros for that instead. And let's be real, getting fined for smoking and spending your trip with a French police officer giving you the look as they write you up. Not your chic, my friend. But don't worry, there's good news for you, my friends. Paris has plenty of designated smoking areas, so if you really need to indulge, just keep an eye out for the signs, follow the rules, and you'll be golden. Now, let's keep this train rolling and move to something that can get you into trouble even if you don't realize it. Trust me, you'll want to hear this one. Alright, we're cruising along smoothly, but now, let's talk about something that might catch you off guard: putting your feet on public transport seats. I know it's tempting. After a long day of walking through the Louvre or climbing up to Sacré-Cœur, your legs are done. You find a seat on the metro, and next thing you know, your feet are propped up like it's your living room. But here's the deal: in Paris, that's a big no. Why? It's all about respect. Public transport is a shared space, and Parisians don't take kindly to someone treating it like their personal lounge. Plus, think about it, those seats weren't made to handle your hiking boots. It's not just a faux pas, it's actually against the rules. If you're caught with your feet on the seats, you could be slapped with a fine of 60 euros. That's enough to cover a fancy dinner for to buy the Seine, and trust me, that's a much better use of your money. Pro tip: keep your feet on the floor and maybe snag a seat by the window. That way, you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the view without an awkward encounter with a ticket inspector. Now that we're all comfy and rule-abiding on public transport, stick around for this one. It could save you plenty of cash. So, you've just hopped onto the metro, ready to zip around Paris like a local. You've got your ticket, you're feeling good, maybe even imagining yourself in a French film with the soundtrack playing in the background. But hold up, before you dive into that movie scene, you need to validate your ticket. If you skip this step, you're in trouble. The validation is like the secret handshake of Paris public transport. If you're caught without that stamp of approval, the fines can hit 50 euros or more. Yep, That's right, 50 euros, and that's not the kind of surprise you want on your trip. But the good news is it's an easy fix. Just remember to stamp your ticket at the validation machine before you hop on the train or bus. Simple as that. Plus, you'll blend right in with the locals who make it look effortless. Now, let's talk about something else that might seem minor but can still cost you. Alright, we're cruising through this list, and now it's time to talk about something that can sneak up on you. I understand, you exude that Parisian self-assurance. The roadway is clear, but the traffic signals are red. You ask yourself, why wait, I'm on vacation. But wait, my friend, ignoring traffic signals in Paris or crossing streets outside of crosswalks might result in a fine. Parisian streets can be a little crazy, and traffic flows fast, so it's better to play it safe. Stick to the crosswalks and wait for the green light. It's a small habit that keeps you safe and avoids the hassle of dealing with a fine. So, if you are still watching until now, it means you are enjoying it, right? Comment yes in the comment section and let's move ahead. This is the most common thing we do probably every day, but now you're in Paris, and of course, you want to capture the beauty of everything, the Eiffel Tower, the Seine, and other architectural beauties. But hold up, not everything is fair game for your camera lens. There are certain government buildings, military sites, and other sensitive locations where photography is strictly prohibited. You may be thinking, I just wanted a cool shot of the beautiful architecture. Well, unfortunately, you might find yourself facing a fine or even having your camera confiscated if you're caught snapping pics in restricted areas. And that can really put a damper on your day. So, what's the deal? Be aware of the signs that clearly state no photography. To play it safe, focus on the classic landmarks. There's plenty to photograph without getting into trouble. And don't forget, the real memories come from living the moment, not just snapping photos. While it's nearly a must-do in Paris, I'm not suggesting you shouldn't have a glass of wine at dinner or drink champagne by the Seine. However, you don't want to end up staggering around the streets, especially in public, absolutely drunk. To keep the peace and ensure public safety, Paris has laws regarding public drunkenness. The police may intervene if you are obviously intoxicated and making a disturbance. You may be fined or possibly placed in temporary custody. The key here is balance. Just make sure you're doing it in moderation, preferably seated at a cafe with a beautiful view of the city. If you do find yourself tipsy, stick to the lovely spots designed for a relaxing evening. And stay with me because what I'm about to tell you will save you some serious money. I know you might be thinking I am kidding now, but it's a surprisingly common mistake travelers make when visiting Paris. So, picture this. You're in a charming Parisian square, surrounded by architecture that looks like it came straight out of a painting. You see pigeons fluttering around, and you think, oh, wouldn't it be cute to toss them some breadcrumbs? Stop right there. Feeding pigeons in public places is actually prohibited. Parisian authorities have banned pigeon feeding to protect public spaces and preserve the cleanliness of the city. If you're caught feeding these feathery freeloaders, you could face a fine of up to 450 euros. Yep, you heard that right. A hefty price for tossing a few crumbs. Pigeons might look harmless, but they can cause a lot of issues. Overfeeding leads to overpopulation, which means more droppings, more mess, and even health risks. As we've reached the end, let's quickly touch on one last essential that every traveler should be aware of. In Paris, street performances and vending are regulated, meaning you can't just set up shop anywhere you like without proper authorization. Whether you're thinking of singing a song, juggling, or selling souvenirs, you need a permit. If you don't have one, you could end up facing a fine or even have your goods confiscated. Here's the thing, street performances and vending add to the charm of Paris, but they need to be done legally. So, if you're planning to entertain or sell, make sure you've got the right permits in place. Otherwise, you'll be better off grabbing a cafe and enjoying the shows from the comfort of your seat. Okay, folks, I hope this video is useful and instructive for your next trip to Paris. Let me know how many of you are planning to travel by leaving a comment Paris and subscribe to know more informative insight videos. Bon appetit, and may your Parisian adventure be filled with beautiful memories.